Noah and his family. For Noah was a righteous man. He was blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Listen. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people of the earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I'm going to put an end to all the people. That's what he said. You don't understand. You don't understand. The Almighty, the one that is able, just stay with me, honey. Yeah, the one that is able, that created all things. He said, enough is enough. I'm putting an end. I'm done. I'm done. I don't know if you've ever been done, but when you've done, you say it's over. And we walk out the room. I'm done. Right? No more. That's where God was at. That's where he was at. He said, I'm putting an end to all the people. He says, this is what he says. He says, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. That's what he said. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself, what did he say? He says, make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make room in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. He said, this is how you ought to build it. Now, ain't nobody ever seen no ark. This is the thing about God. He'll ask you to do things that ain't nobody done. Ain't nobody built no ark. Don't nobody even know what he talking about. I could imagine Noah with his mouth open. Just, you want me to do what? Because he ain't never heard this before. It ain't, nonetheless, there was never a need for an ark because it ain't never rained. Had nobody been in this much trouble before but Adam. Ain't nobody ever been in this kind of predicament before. And so now the earth is filled with corruption. And God says, I'm done. I'm done. He says, listen, you're going to make something you ain't never made before. I'm about to do something I ain't never done. And some of you guys don't understand how God operates. And how God operates, the God factor says you can do all things through Christ because of the God that's on the inside. And so you got to understand that when God calls you out for something, it's because of the God that's on the inside that is well able. The God that's on the inside is able. The God, this is why we got to not run around with fear and dread, because fear will talk you out of it, right? And dread and shame will keep you from obeying God. See, there were some qualities about Noah. The Bible says that he was the most righteous man on the earth. That he was still praying, right? He was still calling on the name of the Lord. He was still fasting. He was still teaching his children how to make a sacrifice. He was still obedient. And I want you to underscore the word obedience. Because of Noah's obedience, he refused to engage in what the world was doing. Now, if you ever watch anything that deals with Noah and his time, the people were profane. And for one wickedness to another, they would create the next thing. They were wicked in that day. And when God said enough is enough, there was pillage. There were the kind of burglaries that happened face to face. Armed robbery is what we would call it. Somebody just jump out and say, give it here. And it costs you your life anyway. They're going to take it. They're going to rob you. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. The world was profane. It was wicked. You better not be out after dark. Ain't no telling where they might find your head rolling. You better not be nowhere where it's under dark cover. Ain't no telling what might happen to you. So when God starts saying, I'm going to do something about this, it wasn't general, like just somebody being evil or wicked. No. The spirit of the people were so corrupt that there was nothing that they would not do. They would sleep with their mother, right, with their father. They would do whatever, because and because it was profane. It was a time of incredible corruption. It wasn't no such thing as weight in business. No, you were stolen from. You were literally raided and robbed because the people had no consciousness of God, no consciousness of what's right and wrong. And you better not say nothing if you want to get out of here alive. Don't worry, they was coming for you. So when God started talking to Noah and told him, look, you're going to make an ark, and this is how you're going to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it. Noah didn't know what this meant. He didn't have no clue. It's just like when God give you a ministry, and he said, this is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to build it. This is what I want you to make sure you add to it. This is what's going to let you know that it's the Lord. I'm going to build it upon your strength and upon your ability to carry you through. So know this, Noah was well able to build an ark. He had already proven that he was well able to obey God, that he was able to obey God. I don't even want to use the word blindly, but he was able to follow him when he didn't even know the way. He was able to trust him to build it so high, right? 30 feet high, 50 wide, right? And 50 long. He was willing not to put his name on the outside of it, right? And say Noah's ministry. No, that's not what he did. He obeyed God to the letter because God at this point was giving him specific instructions that were so dynamic and specific that had he missed this, he'd have missed God. You don't understand. Let me try again. I'm going to come in another way. Let me try again. So you don't know that what you're doing is going to save the lives of the generation that God has put on you. And so your obedience becomes critical because there's people's lives that's in the balance. And when you got to ask God 5 times, when you got to tell God next year, when you got to tell God I ain't ready right now, when you got to tell God help me, when God done gave you help, done gave you strength, done gave you affluence, done gave you influence, and all you got to do is obey. All you got to do is say God yes. All you got to do is say God I will. You're just like a Noah. God ain't got to tell you all the details, but in this case he wants to tell you it's time. Lives are in the balance. Lives are in the balance. You got to get over yourself. Get over yourself. Knock that crown off you got on your head that think you so big and bad. Knock that crown off and let's get to business. God began to talk to Noah, and just like he talks to you, God began to tell Noah that lives are in the balance, son. I'm finna wipe this thing out, and it's gonna be different. I ain't never done it before, but I'm gonna get you ready, because I'm gonna redo, and I'm gonna replenish with you. So I'm gonna get you ready. Now I'm so glad that Noah didn't question God, that he didn't have a fickle moment and say yes today and change his mind tomorrow. I'm so glad that Noah had to depend on God and to trust God, because had he said, God, I can't and I'm not feeling it, my head hurt, I don't want, everything would have changed. Our future would look different because God would have had to use some rocks or some donkeys or something else to save what he wanted to save and to do what he wanted to do. Tell somebody yes. Go ahead and say yes. See, your yes begins to establish an eternal rhythm for you. Your yes begins to have an echo and an eternal rhythm, so that when God comes knocking at the door, your yes is what meets him. Your eternal yes, your yes I will, your yes you can use me, your yes you can have your way. That's why God gets confused, that when he knocks and comes and you start backing up, and God is wondering why. I got your yes, I got your yes, I got your yes, I got your yes. Just because it's difficult, just because it's challenging, you don't get to change your mind. That's what I want you to know. Yeah, that's point number 2. But number 1 is that Noah was obedient, and he had to remain that way, because God will ask you yes before you get your assignment. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Noah didn't know his assignment, but he had already said yes. So sometimes we want to pick and choose the assignment. We want to make, well, this one looks nice, you know. This one looks nice and clean. I like that. This one got all the bells and whistles. I like that. I like that. But that ain't your assignment. Put it down. That ain't it. You got to be made first. You got to get on the potter's wheel. You got to have some trying times. See, Noah was in the midst of trouble, but he didn't drink. He was in the midst of prostitution, but he didn't sleep around. He was in the midst of doing all kind of evil, robbing and killing to be rich and to get what he wanted, but he didn't touch it. See, you got to have your test. You got to have your purification time. You got to go through, whatever is out there, so that none of it is found in you. See, when you find agreement with the devil, then it means that you're not ready yet. When you find what's out there in you and it's echoing, reverberating between them and you, there's a challenge. Noah didn't have no agreement with the earth. He didn't have no agreement with corruption. He didn't have no agreement with violence. He didn't have no agreement with stealing and lying. He didn't have no agreement with prostitution. He didn't have no agreement with violence. His life belonged to God. I wonder about you. Have you given your life away? Listen, this is what he says. He told him to build it. He told him how to build it. He says make a roof for it. Leave him below the roof and open 1 cubit high all around. Put a door on the side of the ark and make a lower and a middle upper deck. Can you imagine your mind imagining what this is going to look like? It's going to have a roof. Yeah, there's going to be space between the roof and the next floor. And then there's going to be a triple decker. What is God up to? I want to tell you. He's building an Ark of Safety. He's getting ready to preserve his seed. He's getting ready, because it's bigger than just Noah. He's getting ready to preserve a seed because he made a promise that Jesus was coming. And he got to fulfill that word. So God is a strategist. He plans how he's going to build and how he's going to preserve. So while you're looking all around wondering how's it going to be, all you got to do is be obedient, child. All you got to do is obey God. Don't worry about the how, but God is the how. God is the how, and the why is you. The why is you because he loves you. And so God is coming for you. But you don't have to worry about the how. The how is God. He's the how. While you're wasting time on the how, God just needs you to say yes. He just needs you to agree with all of heaven that he can use you and that he can have you and that you're going to come through when he calls your name. When he comes knocking and say it's time, that you don't draw back and you don't say next year, Lord, I'll be ready about this time. No, you don't say not right now, God. I'm not feeling it in my belly. I can't do it right now. What you got to have is a yes, and what you got to be is ready, because Noah didn't know God was coming. He didn't know God was saying, son, you're going to build me something that's going to save a nation, that's going to save my seed. Noah didn't know that. He had to have an eternal yes. He had to know something about God. He had to understand something about God. He had to understand the greatness of God. He had to understand that God was sovereign. He had to understand that God could do it. Whatever God put out there, whatever God was telling him to do, that he was able. Listen, we moving. We moving. Y'all still woke? Come on. Let's walk it out then. This is what he says. Put a door on the side of the ark and make a lower, middle, and upper decks, right? He says, I'm going to bring floodwaters. What's floodwaters, God? We don't know nothing about floodwaters. All we know is waters, right? But it ain't never flooded. It ain't never broke its borders. It ain't never flooded the city. It ain't never ran down the streets, God. What is flood and what is floodwaters? See, this is all brand new. So although there were oceans and although there were deeps, it had always held its order, and it was held there by the power of his word. See, one of the things I got to tell you is that your word is everything. You got to watch what you say. You got to watch what you release. You got to watch what you hold. You got to learn how to use your words for the best and for what God wants to do. You can't agree with corruption. You can't agree with death. You can't agree with the things of the world. You got to say, God is for me, so who can be against me? You got to learn how to say, devil, this is holy ground. You got to back up. This is holy. You can't have my mind. You can't have my heart. You can't have my spirit. You got to back up, because this is holy ground. You got to learn how to call God in your situation, because the enemy will tell you, see, look at what you're going through. You got to be able to return an answer. I'm building muscle. I'm building stamina. I'm building strength in God. For my God is coming through. What you don't understand, he's already said yes. What you don't understand, he's already made a way. What you don't understand is that it's already finished. I'm just walking it out because my promise, hallelujah, it's already here. I'm just walking it through. So you got to learn to stay encouraged. You got to learn to stay full of strength and not allow yourself to fall out in the midst of your walkthrough. Don't you dare fall out. Don't you dare. He tells them all about the door. And then he goes on to say, for I'm bringing flood waters on the earth to destroy our life under the heavens. He said every creature that has the breath of life in it, everything on the earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant. This is what he says. Good God. There's that word covenant. Now you guys don't understand. Covenant done wore me out. It done made me fall in the floor. It done made me cry in the middle of the night. Covenant. The promise. The covenant. The agreement of God. Now everywhere you see covenant, you need to search it out. Because that means God got you in mind. That he done swore by his own name. He done swore by his own blood. That he is going to do what he said he going to do. I don't know why you crying. I don't know why you sitting on the side looking all depressed. I don't know why you trying to give up. I don't know why you talking suicide. I don't know why you tripping. Talking about you finna go get a drink. And you got this big promise that God's going to make a way. See, you don't understand what God means when he says covenant. When God says promise, it means it's going to happen. You can go ahead and shout until it shows up. You can go ahead and praise him until it shows up. Because God done gave you his word. I've already told you that not one jot or tittle of his word shall fail. It will not fall. So God uses the word. Right here, he brings it up and he says, covenant. So God begins to write. And he says, I will establish my covenant. This is the Noah covenant. The Noahic covenant with you. And you will enter the ark. Wait a minute, you gonna build it? And then you're going in. He said, you're gonna build it. And then you're going in. This is why instructions are important. You're gonna build it. And then you're going in. It wouldn't have helped Noah if he wouldn't have went in. He had to go in. He says, and you and your sons, your wife, your sons, with you, you are to bring into the ark two of every living creature, male and female. Listen, and they didn't have to go get them. All he had to do was stand on the mountain and call 2 by 2. And the animals begin to march. They begin to march, honey, into the Ark of Safety. You got to learn how to march to his orders. You got to learn how to hear him and begin to march to the orders of God. You got to let your inward parts know we on our way to meet the King. Get yourself together because we're going to meet him. We're going to find him. We're going to be the Shulamite woman for a while, and we're going to search him out. And until we smell the anointing, until we get into his presence, we are marching. We're on our way. And this is what the animals did. Can you imagine Noah going up to a mountain? I'm just imagining this, up to a mountain. And he said, 2 by 2, I need you. And here they come. Out of the trees. Here come the birds. 2 by 2. Here come the elephants. 2 by 2. Yeah, here he come. Something about commanding a thing. Something about your words. That God has put authority and power in your words. I don't know what you call into yourself. I don't know how you living. But I want to tell you now, get your words right. Because what you living in is what your words have produced. Because God has made you just like him. That whatever you call and wherever you're willing to settle, God will allow it because he's given you the mystery or the keys to the mystery to understand the depth that your words are everything. That's why you can't have cheap words flying around. You can't have wicked words flying around. You can't have your heart speaking and your mouth not moving because it's out of your heart. Your heart will do the talking for you. Even if your mouth ain't moving, it ain't because you didn't say it, and it's not because you didn't summon it. You may have summoned it with your heart and told your heart, out of your heart are flowing the issues of life, and you done set it down on the inside, and next thing you know, here it comes. Here come the birds. Here come the curse. Here come the hail. Here come the destruction. Why don't you change what you say? Just Selah right there. Let's rest right there for a minute. Just pat your feet with me. just rock a little bit. Because God going to clear up your mind. He going to clear up your thought life. Your thought life can't be wicked. Yeah, what's in your heart can't be wicked. Because you don't have congruence. You don't have agreement in your spirit. And therefore, your life remains confused. Yeah, you got to hear the voice of the Lord. And you got to know how to obey. Quit playing games. Quit playing. You know you're tripping. Quit playing. Yeah, quit playing. Noah, I'm coming along. Yeah, don't get stuck right there because I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, I promise. He says, listen, you will bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind, a bird, every kind of animal, and every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come. That meant snakes and scorpions. My God, they will come and be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Can you imagine feeding everybody? Take enough. Get the food. Get ready. Because you're coming into safety, baby. You're coming out of that hell. You're coming out of that abusive situation. You're coming out. You're coming out. You're coming out. So when the ark is built, don't you resist it. I don't know about people who resist church. I wonder why. Now here's your ark of safety. Here's your safe place. Here's your place. And you won't come. Here's your Jesus. And you won't come. Trying to save your mind, trying to save your heart, trying to save your children, trying to get you off drugs, trying to get you off of that alcohol, but you won't come. Here's your ark. So he says, bring them 2 by 2. Bring them, whatever they look like. And now we're going to sustain them, and we're going to keep them full. We're going to keep them blessed while we in this ark, while we in this ark of safety. We're going to do that. Now you got to hear me next week when I connect the dots and tell you that when Jesus comes, he comes with everything you need. And he is your new ark. He is your ark. He's your ark of safety. God ain't destroying nothing by water, no. But he got a plan. He got men and women that haven't bowed the knee to Baal. They haven't bowed to the world, nor its corruption. Yeah, so this is what it says. But I will establish my covenant with you. And as you enter in, that's what he says. And to bring into the ark all the living, male and female, 2 of every kind. Go ahead and get the food because you're going to keep them alive. You got to take every kind of food that will sustain you and them. And Noah did everything that God commanded. Now, if you have read Noah, we heard Noah in Sunday school. I heard it in adult Sunday school, that the rains came. And the people, it took Noah 700 years to build the ark. Am I right? It took him a long time. God had to remain faithful. And Noah had to remain faithful. Can you imagine his friends making fun of him? Can you imagine it getting worse and worse? Can you imagine them throwing rocks at him? Can you imagine him walking here and telling him, Lulu, Lulu, Lulu? And then when he say, but God, they just laugh at him. Fall out laughing, busting the gut laughing. I don't know about you, but if you ain't had no ministry that ain't been laughed at, you probably ain't been called. If you ain't had no ministry that people ain't stood around and judged you and said, you stupid, you sure is dumb. How long you gonna do that? What? Oh, God told you. Oh, okay. That ain't never happened to you. See, you ain't been in no ministry yet. You ain't had to put your life out on the line. But when you have to put your life out on the line, because God said so, and you have to lose your reputation, you have to lose your head in the midst of your educated friends, in the midst of your well-off friends, and they just looking at you like, yeah, you done lost it. You done lost it. Until their son needs you, until their granddaughter needs your ministry. They'll say something like, I know just the place. I got a friend, my bestie. Let me dial them up because they got a ministry of deliverance. Let me get you over there, honey, because you need help right now. Yeah, when you have to call your friend, have to call you because you're weird praying all night long and having all these visions and all this stuff. But can't nobody find her children. Her children been gone for 2 years and she next thing you know, she calling you, well, I'm just hoping you had time to pray for me. I haven't been able to see little John and little Sue. They've been gone. Are they in the courtroom looking at a life sentence and they know you're a woman or man of God of prayer. Next thing you know they got your number. No. Let me see if you can help me, because I'm in trouble. It was funny in the formation. It was really a joke when you were going through what you were going through, when God was making you, when you were losing things and God was saying, you don't need that. Come on, God. You don't need that, Gideon. You don't need that many. You don't need that much. I'm going to take that and we're going to give it away to poor people. And God started taking things. Then all of a sudden they looking at you saying, why you living like that? Why you doing that? Because God required it of me. God required it. And I'm not married to mammon. So I gave it and I let it go. That's why I let it go. Because I love God more than money. I love God more than a title. I love God more than man. So I obeyed God. And just like Gideon, I don't know how we're going to fight this battle, because it ain't nobody here but us few. And their army is massive. But with God on your side, he becomes a great equalizer, right? So next thing you know, they're looking for you because they don't know how to get their kids off crack. They don't know how to get them through prison. They don't know how to get their breakthrough. They don't know how. You don't know what to do. And next thing you know, you're their only answer. Thank God that you have been sent as part of what it takes to save the world. Part of what it takes for redemption to take place in the world. If God had actually told Noah, we're going to build it and we're going to replenish and that would have been too much for him to know it at one time. All he needed to know was build, baby. You in your building season, build. Right now, you don't need to know what's going to build. That's what I need. You're anointed to build, Noah. You're anointed to build. That's what you're going to do. You're anointed to build. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to figure out the how. Don't try. Just build. That's where you are. Don't complain about it. Just build. Don't overthink it. Just obey God. If God said do it, do you have to have a reason? Do you have to have a reason? If God is here, not enough. If God said do it, is that enough? Just do it. If God really told you, just do it. Is that not enough? Is that not enough? Do it. Noah had to just do it. If he'd have told him all of the details, yeah, man, you're going to be out there. There ain't no ocean here, but look, it's going to be an ocean. It's going to belt and beat upon this thing that you built. God didn't terrorize him and say, you better make sure you use enough pitch to get it just right. But your friends will torment you. You better get it perfect. Because if you don't, you're going to drown. That's friends. But God just said, build it, baby. And at the end of the day, Noah obeyed every command. Life and future was resting. I don't know about you. There's probably in your journey over 1 million people assigned to you. Over. But because you got to have time to comb your hair, I'm just being facetious. Time to make sure your lipstick is straight. You can't get started but maybe 10 or 15 years late. You can't get over it. We're gonna call it church hurt, because we call it everything. We're just gonna label it. You can't get over it. Who are you? Knock that crown off your head. You done got offended, and now the blood ain't enough for you to get healed. It ain't enough. It just ain't enough. You ain't been through what I've been through. You ain't had to deal with what I done had to deal with. Well, Jesus had to forgive people who spit in their face, who pulled his beard out, handful at a time. And you mean to tell me you can't get over it? You can't get through it? His blood is not enough? So you're going to forsake and you're going to actually betray the call of God? I'm in your face. I'm up close and personal. And I'm talking to you. Okay, so you got a history. I think Peter had a history. God still used him. And he was a hot mess. And it took him a while to get it together. He still cussed people out is what I'm saying. He still tried to kill somebody. But God still used him. And you mean to tell me you're going to back down because you done had a little trouble? What's wrong with you? You tripping. The great God of Almighty has called you, has summoned you to build your ark, your place of safety. that's not only going to preserve you, but everybody whosoever will. And you mean you won't follow through? You won't follow through? You'd rather be at the all you can eat? You won't follow through? You'd rather be at the clearance sale? You won't follow through? You won't obey God and your life, your generations, this world, but you ain't got no problem talking about everybody. You ain't got no problem talking about, oh my God, they go into prison. Oh my God, they done killed somebody. You ain't got, but you're the remedy and the answer, and you won't take your place. So you don't even have a right to complain no more. You can't even complain about it because you won't even take your place. You won't even obey God. You won't even do your portion. You can't even talk about drunk drivers. You can't even do that because you are the remedy. You're the cure. Listen, Noah obeyed every command, and he built this ark. He built it with that door that we talked about this morning, because there's only one way to Jesus. He built this door. He did it like God said do it. He didn't put signature labels on every floor because he just wanted to. That's not what God said. It's not necessary. Strip yourself, strip your eye of that, and obey God. Strip your eye of what you feel like you gotta have. He didn't build a smorgasbord on the third or fourth floor so everybody could eat it up in a day or two. He had to figure out how to portion food so that there would be food to last until the end. He had to figure some things out, and he couldn't get under pressure with his family, and he certainly couldn't get mad at the wolves for howling. He had to figure out what God wanted to do so that everybody walked off the, listen, you don't understand the miracle that not one fainted, not even the snakes died. Everybody lived so that they would have a life afterwards. If you'll obey God, not one will be lost, not one will die that God puts under your charge, but they will live and not die and declare the glory of the Lord. Do you mind standing on your feet?
We're about to cross over. We're about to cross over. We're about to cross over. Forward. March. We're about to cross over. We're about to cross over.
Join us as we are empowering families and building strong communities. So our vision for the Secret Place Community Church is our next new project of building a greater and a grander space and place. The Secret Place Community Church is a tangible embodiment of our vision, a place with you in mind. We envision a thriving hub that uplifts families and strengthens our communities. Rooted in Northeast Oklahoma City, our expanded facility will encompass the following: a nurturing daycare school with the next generation, a welcoming food and clothing pantry for those that are in need, abundant parking for easy access, a spacious auditorium for inspiring gatherings, and of course, a versatile commercial kitchen for shared meals, functional offices to support our mission. In this space, every individual will be embraced, every need will be met to the best of our ability, and every heart will find a home. Together, we're building a sanctuary of empowerment, love, and transformation. Join us as we are empowering families and building strong communities.
Possess the land. No, we won't be afraid.